All right, let's start the meeting. And first, we're going to have call to order and roll call.
Ms. Cooper Payton,
Here.
Ms. Hedlund,
Present.
Mr. Jacobson, Ms. Jones,
Here.
Ms. Orcherton,
Yes, hello.
Mr. Patterson, Ms. Salmon,
Here.
Ms. Snyder.
Present.
Okay. Do we don't have any changes to the agenda, or do we?
I think we're just
Oh,
doing
that's a switch.
yeah. So I think Deborah Larson from Urbana Pops is presenting first, and then
And then
BBL.
Right, okay. All right, let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead then with the first grant presentation from Deborah Larson. This will be for the Urbana Pops Orchestra.
Minutes.
I'm sorry?
The minutes.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay, well, first of all, you've all seen the minutes. Do you have any questions or comments? Changes? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as shown? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's approved. Thank you.
And before we move on to the presentation, I just want to give a shout out to our new colleague there, Will. Will just joined the division, the Economic Development Division, I guess last week or 2 weeks ago. Lost track of time, but 2 weeks ago. Yes, so
Welcome.
Great. Okay, sorry to hold you up, Deborah.
No, that's okay.
Go right ahead.
So I really appreciate this opportunity to come and share a little bit about our 2016 season and some of the highlights of what we did with Urbana Pops Orchestra, and a little bit about how the grant from the City of Urbana helped us offer free, entertaining concerts and one recital, and provide music education for student musicians, but also for people who come to listen to the concerts. Urbana Pops gave one free recital at Urbana Free Library this year. Trumpet player Aaron Rahm's recital is just the perfect example of UPO's mission in music education. He took time to explain his instrument to one of the youngest in the audience. He performed alongside student musicians from his own studio, and he donned a black wig and cape to play the part of Queen of the Night from Mozart's Magic Flute on the trumpet. That's what we're about, folks.
And he's the stars,
Yeah.
coming out of the head.
He was fabulous. Saturday, June 11th, was Urbana Pops Plays Video Games. Because the kitchen renovation at the high school was finally complete, we were able to hold that concert back in the auditorium at Urbana High School. And because all the music in the concert is associated with video games, Andrew Edwards came and introduced the pieces with some fun background information. Drew is a Chicago film score composer who he also teaches up there at Columbia, and he is a graduate of Urbana Schools. A highlight of the June concert is the premiere performance of the winning pieces from Urbana Pop's annual composition contest. This year, because of the theme, we partnered with Volition. The young composers scored music to video clips provided by Volition. Urbana Pops Orchestra performed the two winning pieces along with the video up on the screen above the orchestra. Now, this required a complicated technology setup to pull off, much more complicated than this. The conductor, so this is zooming in on a little bit, the conductor used headphones to listen to a click track to keep the orchestra perfectly timed to the video and watch the video on that laptop on a feed to it that was on the stage that also had a sort of a video click track. Mike Watson from Volition presented a certificate to the winner of the under 18 age category, 8th grader Liam Dietrich from Highland Park. The over 18 composer could not be there. Urbana Pops Orchestra student musicians and professionals, including both of our conductors, this year played in the pit orchestra for Urbana Park District's production of Willy Wonka. And I've got to give a shout out to Noah Larson, who's no relationship to me. He was the music director for this year's show, so he's the one kneeling down in the front. Noah just turned 18 this year and is now attending the University of Illinois. He was associate concertmaster for both the June and the July concerts. And in the photo below, the big blue arrow is pointing at Noah when he was in 6th grade and played in Urbana Pops Orchestra's first season in 2010. The kid is amazing. The second free concert was on July 23rd at the high school. Made in the USA showcases music by American composers. Eve Harwood, who's a retired music professor from U of I, shared background information before each piece and gave the audience something specific to listen for, like she'll sing a little theme and have the audience sing it back, and it's really fun. At that concert, local trombonist Adam Cosberg played an amazing concerto by Christopher Brubeck, conducted by Daniel Sutherland. And the cast from Willy Wonka sang an encore performance with the full orchestra. And what I want to conclude with is a little bit more about the unique opportunity that Urbana Pops provides in music education. The top 2 photos are from a practice, Wednesday, I believe, of that week, and it shows high school students receiving personal instruction from one of the professional musicians. Below, a few days later, there they are playing in concert alongside professionals. That's the core of our mission, is to try to have student musicians, and it's always approximately 20 to 30% of the orchestra are really talented high school and sometimes junior high students. In the early fall, Urbana Pops hosts a free practice session for area high school strings players who plan to audition for the Illinois Music Educators Association State Orchestra. So this year's will be on October 4th at Urbana Middle School. We had a percussion petting zoo at the Read Across America, and we put together a team from our board members to participate in the CU Schools Foundation Spelling Bee. You notice I'm not on that team. We didn't win, but we made a lot of noise. So thank you again for helping Urbana Pops provide musical experiences that are accessible, educational, and not just affordable, but again this year completely free, thanks to your grant. And of course, I need to end by showing a video clip from one of the concerts. Because of this year's partnership with Volition that was so unique, I'd like you to see and hear one of the composition contest winning pieces. Keep in mind that this music was written by an 8th grader. He called it Volition Velociraptors. Watch the video clip projected on the screen and note the synchronization of the video to the score. It's 3 minutes long. Oops, uh-oh. Wait. No, I got it.
Are a proud people. In the beginning, we addressed the savagery of man by eating them. Later, we chose the path of enlightenment, choosing to leave their world rather than be brought down by their baser instincts. But while humanity is capable of much cruelty, it is also capable of compassion, of honor, and the saints stand here as examples of that. Bring the heroes forward! We are in your debt, saints. What can Cyrano, the Raptor King, give to show you his thanks?
A dinosaur with guns.
No. What say you, young warrior?
Respect. People need to take me seriously.
Any who questions the wisdom of Dumbledore shall answer. Kensington,
Vengeance.
you shall have it. And you, fairest Shawnee.
Cyrano, I want to be your queen.
My hand, my heart, my kingdom, all belongs to you. Your subjects have named their reward. What can I do for you?
You know, I'm pretty good, actually. Want to go bowling?
whole time.
You might want to talk about, just knowing a little bit of the background of Volition and who works there, you might want to address the connection between the city of Urbana and the company.
Oh, yes.
That's-
Aren't we all connected?
Yeah.
I even did a voiceover for Volition about 30 years ago when they first got going. Diane Marlin is on the city council, and her daughter, Kate. Nelson, has worked at Volition since high school. I think she had one of those internships through Urbana High School, and then after college she came back and got a full-time job as an audio producer. And Urbana Pops has wanted to do something with video games, but that was a great collaboration to be able to get those kind of unused video clips from them that they were willing to share with us. I mean, it's very proprietary stuff. And they chose two different clips. The one for the 18 and over was a more of a shoot 'em up kind of video, like they're more famous for. This one was, we felt like for the under 18 was a little more family friendly.
Great, well, it's a wonderful program. Does anybody want
Yeah,
to
thanks for
ask
mentioning that.
questions or make
Well,
comments?
our kids went to, they left Urbana and went to Hollywood. My son also, they all grew up together. Our kids grew up together, and
Is Drew was he in that
Alex?
same? He's
I don't know Drew. I knew another Andrew Edwards, but it's a different one.
Yeah, a lot of talent comes out of Urbana.
Yeah. Great. I can remember they were all 5 years old at co-op school together.
Well, thanks very much for your
Thank you.
presentation.
Thanks a lot.
And thanks for this project.
Yeah.
Let's see, are you ready to do the BBL
So
one yet?
the thumb drive is not formatted, so I think I have a way to work around it. I was just gonna plug in the audio here and then just show the video on here. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
that should work.
All right. I have to
Okay, this
find it.
presentation will be on BBL Fine Arts.
Guessing that's the audio. I apologize. I should have thought about this ahead of time. There we go.
There you go.
That's from today. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for it to load a second. Okay. Sorry.
Do you want to introduce yourself, maybe?
Yeah, I thought. My name's Abby Harris. I am one of the instructors for BBL. I've been with them now. I think this is my 6th year with them. I'm a elementary music teacher in Champaign schools, and I'm currently at International Prep Academy as a general music teacher. But after school, this is what I do. I work for BBL because I can't get enough music.
When did you change school?
Just this year. Yeah, because I met you when I was at Garden Hills.
Right.
Yeah. So I suppose while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and play one of the tracks. This is the advanced band playing a piece called Joe Avery Blues, which is a traditional 12-bar blues. And our theme this year was music from New Orleans. So Joe Avery Blues is a song that's frequently used in second lines. In fact, it's sometimes just referred to as second line instead of Joe Avery Blues. I wish you could see the video. So we had, like at our concert, we had different performances, and the advanced band performed by themselves, but then at the end of the concert, we combined both bands. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that would have been that slide. So our purpose is to provide enrichment to growing musicians. Also, we target low-income and underrepresented students, and we try our best to prepare them for their homeschool musical organizations. Our daily schedule was from 9 to 3. It usually started out with history. Someday, the last day we had to change our schedule just to accommodate the needs, but basically Monday through Thursday was history. Then you went to your ensemble rehearsal or your sectional. Depending on what level you were, you would either go to bucket drums, do another rehearsal, or go to choir. We also had a choral strand, we had a guitar strand, and we also had composition at the end of the day, which we just called Make Your Own Music. Our instruction was with the brass instruments, woodwinds, percussions, piano, guitar, vocals. As I said, we had bucket drums for our beginners. When they weren't in sectional or an ensemble rehearsal, then they were doing bucket drums or composition. Our history sessions included music, the African influence from Congo Square in New Orleans. We taught them about the influence of Creole people and the Caribbean music in New Orleans music, and as well as the Cuban influence. I think the last day was spent on the more modern music and the funk bands like the Meters. Our listening sessions, we focused mostly on older jazz, like Dixieland traditional jazz, and just to kind of explain to the students like the roots of the music that they were playing. Our camp stats, we had 11 beginning students, 21 intermediate, 14 advanced, and a total of 46 students. And we had 9 instructors this year. And we had 2 new ones to us. Our piano teacher was new to us. She's a graduate student at U of I. And we had a saxophone student. And you can see him he's the only one not wearing a light blue shirt in the band. He's the really old kid towards the front. So these are pictures of our intermediate ensemble, which was directed by Deborah Banks, who's another one of our year-round instructors. This was, I think, the largest that I've ever seen this band. Last year I did this band, and it was a fraction of this size. So it's really awesome to see that a lot more younger people are signing up for our camp. This is the advanced band, and I'll play their other example for you. It was really nice to have the graduate students there too. They got paid for their work as well, but for them it was just the experience of working with the younger people that they really were craving, and they got it. All right, and then this year the guitar class wasn't taught by me this year. It was taught by the guitar teacher from U of I, Chris Bate. And so he had a variety of levels in that class. So he touched on a lot of different things. I can't even begin to explain all the things he did. I know he did a lot of chord reading. He taught the kids how to read just regular notes. I think I taught them how to read tablature because it was a little bit easier for the kids that I had just right off, who had never done any note reading before. So, and we also had, I think this class doubled in size because in the past we've only had like four to six kids in it, and we definitely had a lot more this year. The vocal ensemble was led this year by Jasmine Henderson, who is now the music teacher at Garden Hills in Champaign, and she did a phenomenal job. I'll just let you listen to them. That was our vocal ensemble this year, and they sounded really great. So like I said, we ended our week with our final concert at Smith Memorial Hall. The presentation included the intermediate band, the advanced band, and the vocal performance. And then at the very beginning, I probably should have said this at the beginning, we featured the compositions that the students wrote during Make Your Own Music. Something different that we did this year that we hadn't done in past years is that we sent home a survey to get feedback from the parents, because at the end of every year, it feels like we sit down and we're like, so let's reflect, let's think, but we never think to ask other people what they think of us. So we sent out a survey. We advertised it both on our website and on Facebook to ask about about BBL in general, but really about the camp. And so we asked what did you think about the level of instruction? And most were rated 4 to 5, so that's great. Many of the students said that they joined BBL to learn an instrument or to improve on it or to gain more background in jazz and blues in general. But, I wish this played. So this was the feedback on why did you choose BBL. And as you can see, people's reasonings varied. Some people wanted to do it because it was based on recommendation. Some people thought that they just needed more experience. Some of the parents said that their kid wasn't getting what they thought they should have, so they brought them to us to basically enhance their instruction, which was great. But I think the feedback really helps us kind of shape what we do the next year too, and throughout the year. So we were really excited to get all this feedback back. The funding that we received from the Urbana Arts Council, we used to reimburse the instructors for their time, and we also used it to fund scholarships for the students who couldn't afford the fee. Ooh. And then those are all the instructors. To the far left, those are the graduate students that joined us this year, but everyone else, those are pretty much, that's our main staff. Yes.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
On the right, you notice the gentleman in the white shirt, second from the right, who's standing next to Abby. We have a number of new members of the commission who are here. That's former City Councilman Robert Lewis, who was a founding member of this commission.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you knew that.
He was actually the one playing drums on.
Right. He's a
Yep, that was him.
percussionist, yeah.
So, but we thank you for your support. Does anyone have questions for
ahead.
me?
Not about the program, but about one of the things we heard. What is the origin and the history of What a Wonderful World?
Oh, the origin?
Yeah, where does that song come from? It seems almost to be its own genre.
You know what? I wish so I play in a Dixieland band. I'm in the Church Street Ramblers, and that's actually in our songbook, but it's
Yeah.
not a song that we've done. And I know I can see it right now, and it tells you the little history in the corner, but I can't
Yeah.
tell you what it is off the top of my head right now.
There's this iconic version from Louis Armstrong.
Yeah,
and other
yeah.
people who,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. But it seems different from everything else.
Yeah.
In sort of his canon and your canon.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit different, but still beautiful. Like, have you listened to I can't ever say his last name right, but Israel, he plays ukulele, and he has a really beautiful version of Over the Rainbow that basically bleeds into the wonderful world.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Often played at wedding receptions.
Yeah, actually, it's my friend's wedding song.
I was just going to
yeah,
say,
go ahead.
really quickly, I had a chance to help out on one of the first few days.
Oh, that's right.
I'm
sorry.
Of the camp. No, it's fine. And what was really neat was the wide range of ages that were there and wide range of abilities. Often at camps, you see people who have been doing this a lot, but it was really nice to see kids of all ages. And some kids were like, "I've never played jazz before," but they were all very excited to participate in the camp. So,
And it was a
really nice.
diverse group. Like this year, it was a really diverse group. Usually, it varies, but like really, it was diverse. I felt like we had a lot of different representation.
Great. Well, it's been a great program, and it continues to get even better. So, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to have a grant presentation from Claire Happel.
Claire's being called in because she can't be here in person, so
Oh, okay.
Jason is going to put her on Skype. Maybe I should check if it's ready.
Yeah, I think she should be on Skype. Claire, are you there?
Yes.
She's like,
Oh, there
can
she
you
is.
turn it up a little bit, Jason?
I sure can.
Thank you.
I also, oh, go ahead. I also have my duo partner with me. We're at a chamber music residency right now, and I thought it'd be a nice time to do it because he was part of the concerts that the grant. Hello.
Hi, Claire. Thanks for joining us. I have your slides ready, so you can just begin whenever.
Okay. So my grant project was to present free concerts in Urbana for harp and bass, and featuring two new pieces. Specifically, the most important we felt to feature was a piece by a local Urbana composer, and he came to speak about the work before his piece was played. So the duo is this is Philip Alejo, who's here right now, and yes, here.
Hello.
And we played harp and bass concerts at Clark Lindsey Urbana Free Library and at the Brookdale Memory Care Center, but I'll talk about that soon. So in the second slide, I wanted to show the parallel goals of the Urbana Public Arts Commission and what my project accomplished. So I thought the goals that aligned the most were to increase availability of publicly accessible art projects, to encourage emerging artists and art forms, to enrich the lives of Urbana residents and visitors, and to increase opportunities for residents to engage in the arts in its many forms. So we'll go on to the next slide, and as I talk about the different concerts, we can talk about how the project connected to those goals. So one of the concerts was at Clark Lindsey Village, and this concert very much did feel like we were bringing something that they were very inquisitive and enthusiastic about. The response was great there, and it was to people who might not otherwise, many people there are very mobile, but that they might not otherwise know about our concert if it was outside the facility, and they might not be able to get there. So it did feel like it made concerts accessible to people. And then we spoke about each piece, and bringing the composer did feel like a way to enrich the concerts and give them something to engage with, or a way outside of the music, a way into the actual music by hearing about the piece. So the next slide is showing the concert from Brookdale Memory Care. So we can move to it. Okay, and all the concerts were different. It felt like the response was different, but at Brookdale, it felt like a really special occasion. They had a wine and cheese reception afterwards, and it felt like we were giving them something that they don't often have there at the facility. I hadn't been involved with Brookdale much before, but about 25 people showed up, and that, again, felt like giving people an experience in the arts that they might not have the ability to go out in the community to visit concerts. The next slide, is our concert at Urbana Free Library. And this concert felt really successful in that a really wide array of the public came to it. This was our biggest concert with about 50 people. And there were, professors from the university and friends of ours, but then also people who had seen the posters at the Urbana Free Library, or who were just at the library and happened to hear us. And Carol Inskeep, who was my contact there, who helped there at the recital, said that a person, she overheard a person saying, asking what the instruments were, because they hadn't seen a bass or a harp in person before. So it did feel like we had an array of people, a wide variety of people listening, which I felt like, again, was nice to enrich the lives of all Urbana residents by making it a public free concert in a space that's very public, the library. If we go on to the next slide, so as I mentioned, not only did we play the pieces, and I would talk a little bit beforehand, we had the composer Whitney Ash, who lives in Urbana, talk about his piece, and the piece is called Circuitous Six, and he explained a little bit about how musically he created the piece, but then also had an extra musical connection in relation to Westerns, which people who were non-musicians, I felt like it gave them a way in to listen to the piece, which had a little bit of an ominous, dark sound to it. And again, at both Clark Lindsey and Brookdale, they had receptions afterwards, so that was really nice to give them the opportunity to be able to talk to the composer and us about ourselves and our instruments. And then if we can go to the next slide, we were happy with the amount of people that came and how many people it impacted. We thought there would be about 120 people. We thought maybe average of 40 per concert. And as you can see, the Urbana Free Library exceeded our expectations with 50. Clark Lindsey was a full room, but almost exactly 40. And then at Brookdale was around 25. So it did feel like it reached a lot of people. Between rehearsals and practicing individual practice, and then the hours of the composer's writing, and then making Facebook posts and sending out mass emails and the post, sending the information for the posters to the different venues. that all added up to about 113 hours spent on the project. And for Philip and me, the impact for us was great too, because we got to add 2 new commissions to our repertoire, and now we have 5 commission works that we're hoping to record in May of 2017. And for myself individually, it was nice to strengthen the connections with Clark Lindsay and with Carol Inskeep at the library, but also to make new ones at Brookdale, where I think I'll play again, because it did seem like a special thing that they might not always get at the facility. So if we move on to the next slide, I just want to say thank you for I think the Urbana Arts grants really do achieve the goals put forward by them to enrich the lives of Urbana residents and to invest in emerging artists and to bring arts to people all across the community. So thank you. Any questions?
Okay. Would anyone like to ask a question? Sounds like it was very successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great project.
Yeah, they're wonderful artists, so I'm sure it was.
Did you also work with Clark Lindsay last year, Claire?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering that.
Yeah.
And
We did it last year. We did it in the lower part with multimedia, but this year we did it in the Huey Lounge, so it was on the first floor and open. I feel like they would have had to kind of definitely know about it last year, but this year it was in a space where if after dinner they were around, they would see that the concert's happening, which was nice.
And are you going to make this an annual event? Are you planning on organizing another one next year?
You know, I'm not sure, but I am playing at Clark Lindsay, just, some solo repertoire just for myself and for them. When is it? I think in October, mid-October. So yeah, I'm glad to stay connected with Paula Martin there. Yeah. They're a super enthusiastic but grateful audience.
And of course, they were a recipient of an award this year too at Clark
Yes,
Lindsay
they were.
Wallace Project. So a nice connection between recipients.
Nice.
Unintended.
Well, thanks very much. We're glad to hear that it went so well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, next we're going to have the monthly progress report.
So we'll start with Artists of the Corridor. If you walked in earlier, you might have seen Rachel installing. She just finished installing, so the new exhibition is up. Before we had Judy Lee's mini master painters, and now we have Rachel Storm's photographs from Ecuador. And we will have an opening reception on September 23rd. That's next Friday. So I hope you can make it. Feel free to shoot me an email so I get an estimate of how many people are coming. But even if not, you can just show up. It's from 5 to 6:30 on September 23rd. And that is the poster. The exhibition is up until December 7th, so as usual, about 3 months. The second to last art at the market was last Saturday. It was quite successful, even though it was rainy, very rainy in the morning especially, but it kind of dried up as the day got, as we were closer to noon. So we actually had a lot of people show up, and we had button making with Judy Lee, so a lot of people from all ages like to do that, from toddlers to older audiences. It's really fun and it's really easy to do. And we had music by Elizabeth Simpson and Friends, so they perform mostly jazzy tunes, but also some indie folk. And next month, we will have the last art at the market. This is the October one. Second Saturday of the month, we'll have music by the Music Boxers. So these guys are faculty members at C4A. They'll play mostly bluegrass and folk. And we'll also have freestyling with Carol Farnham. So Carol is a local street artist, and she'll have these boards and spray paint that's not hazardous or anything. So it's water-based spray paint and markers, and she'll do some drawings, and people can color it in, and it'll be like a fun, large project. The latest episode of Art Now features Judith Adama Johnson, who's an abstract painter. So this is this month's episode. And last month we had Michael Owen Thomas, who was interviewed by Commissioner Sarah Jones. And next month it will be Nathan Westerman. The Urbana Art Expo is next Sunday. Hope I'll see you there. I know some of you already volunteered to help with setup, so thank you very much. And we'll talk about this some more on the discussion item, but it'll be on September 18th, 10 to 5 at the Civic Center, and we've selected 19 artists. And the Urbana Sculpture Project, we're working on this currently, and we're working to find locations for the new sculptures. But these are the sculptures that are going out. They will be removed this fall because they've been here for 2 years, and the sculptures are leased for a period of 2 years. So Asteray, which is by the Urbana Free Library, is leaving this fall. So is Maelstrom 2 at Philo and Florida, and Twisted 2 at Johnson Park, which is around Philo and Washington. And Whirlwind in the Thorn Tree by Skip Willits, that's on Main Street. And lastly, A Thirst by Sarah Dippy, which is at the Boneyard Creek Crossing. In terms of marketing, our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram accounts they keep growing. We have now 1,248 page likes on Facebook and 1,790 followers on Twitter and 290 followers on Instagram. We have currently these 2 ads. I just took down the Judy Lee ad because the exhibition is over, but we currently have these 2 ads, and I'll also add another one for Rachel Storm's exhibition. And in addition to that, to promote the Art Expo, we also have radio ads for next week. They'll be on 3 different radio stations, and I was also on CI Living on WCIA. You might have seen that. I hope I did okay. I hate watching myself, so I don't know how I did. And also the Art Expo is on community calendars such as Shambana Moms, Smile Politely, and News Gazette. So I think that's, I have 2 more. So Arts in the Schools, the guideline and application have been published, so we're just waiting to receive applications. And the deadline is on September 23rd. That is the first deadline just for proposals. So after that, finalists will be selected, and there will be another deadline for finalists to submit the rest of the applications. So we're hoping to announce the grantee or grantees by early November, and the grant period begins in the spring semester. And about up to $3,000 is available for this grant program. And lastly, we have some good news. I sent you an email about this, but we received a grant from the Illinois Arts Council Agency, or IACA. This is for the grant period of 2015, actually, so it's awarded a bit late. So we do have to spend it all by November 30th, which would be a problem.
Never a problem.
And we received $6,800, which is higher than we ever received a grant from them. So it's wonderful.
Congratulations to you.
Yeah, super.
Thank you. We submitted the budget amendment, and this was on last night's council meeting, and I think everything went pretty smoothly.
Good.
And I mentioned last month that we were going to nominate the public arts program to Common Grounds program, which is Round Up for Good, is their initiative to help local nonprofits. Unfortunately, we're not nominated this year, which is okay. We guess we can try again next year. So next year around September, if you're a member of Common Ground Food Co-op, please nominate us.
Well, I checked into that, and
Yeah.
Actually my husband did it for me because I was out of town on a gig. But they seem to have an interest too in things that are related to food and healthy eating.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure how would we tie into that?
Maybe if we say specifically for Art at the Market, that might be
Yeah.
more appealing to people.
I was fantasizing about programs all about food, music all about and songs all about food where you can tie it together. But
It could also tie into overall wellness. I know they care a lot about mind, body, spirit, so that could work with
Okay.
some sort of creative output.
Well, and after all, they're supporting their own art gallery, so.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can think of specific ideas, feel free to email me. And yes, Eric.
So, which radio stations are you advertising on?
Stevie J Broadcasting, Mix 94.5, and WDWS.
yeah, that's CI Living. So
Okay,
yeah.
So,
sometimes I mix up the letters, so.
so I would suggest also WBCP, which is the predominantly black-owned, was the black-owned and often a major black listenership radio
Okay.
station. So we should really reach to that community as well.
Great, thank you.
Perhaps the Parkland radio station as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention we're actually
Any and all the
also-
radio stations in the area. Why not?
Yeah. Well, as many as our budget allows, but these are great ideas.
Well,
Thank
if you
you.
send out a press release, they usually just put it on their calendar, don't they?
Well, with WEFT, for example, we get some free promotions from them. They're just going to do like a PSA about the Art Expo.
Right.
But for the 3 that I mentioned, we actually paid like a small amount of money
I see.
for ad space.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
I think that's it for the report.
yeah.
Okay. We're going to move on to some discussion items. The first one is the Urbana Art Expo, which is going to be next Sunday.
Next Sunday. So thank you for everyone who's helping already and who's planning to help on the day. We are still looking for volunteers, so if you haven't been in touch with me, let me know. By some miracle, the space actually opened up the day before. There was going to be an event there, but it's canceled. So now we have much more time to set up, and it won't be chaotic, hopefully. Yeah, so if you're free Saturday or Sunday, we will be setting up for a lot
On
of time.
Saturday, it's from 1:30
Saturday
to...
is 1 to... I'll be there from about 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay.
And then Sunday, we mostly need help early in the morning, so 7 to 9. And then after the event is over, so for teardown, around 5 to 6:30.
What time did you say on Sunday?
On
Start
Sunday?
setting up?
On Sunday, we're setting up 7 to 9, or 7 to 10. And then for teardown, it's about 5 to 6:30.
Wait, I thought you said we were going to do this setup on Saturday.
Yeah, so Saturday, we are doing setup.
Okay.
And then some more.
Yeah, 1:30 to
additional-
4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sunday, I think the setup is mostly focusing on helping artists get set up because they may need help, like, they have questions and carrying stuff and stuff like that. So the artists that are selected for this year's Art Expo are Ellen Cremian and Anna Williams, Carolina Rodriguez, Caroline Goldsmith, Daniel Hadley, Deborah Domal, Jenny Chi, Lisa Kessler, Lori Fuller, Lynn Hawkinson Smith, Madeline Davison, Michael Owen Thomas, Nathan Westerman, Paula McCarty, Rosalind Weinberg, Phil Strang, and Rick Larimore, Safir Kylan, and Travis Hocut. So as you see, we have several who also were at the Art Expo last year, but we have a lot of new ones as well. So I think it's great. And I think this year we have a little bit more variety. We have Mosaic, for example, Safir Kylan, and Rick Larimore sculpture. So it's going to be good. And the opening or the artist reception for the Art Expo is the night before on September 17th, 5 to 7 p.m. at Pizza M. I set a deadline to RSVP is tomorrow, but show up if you can, even if you don't RSVP. It'll be a good time.
All commissioners are invited, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you say the time again? This is probably the fourth time you've told me.
That's okay. 5 to 7 p.m.
On Friday, you said?
Yes, and feel free to bring a guest.
Saturday.
Saturday.
It's like sex time.
Yeah.
Overload, that's all.
Okay. Any questions about the Art Expo? No? Okay.
Okay, next we'll move on to the open scene discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that I have these radio ads. here.
Oh,
Would you
I'm
like to
sorry.
listen?
Go ahead. Sure.
They're really
Wondering
short.
what that was.
Inspired, thought-provoking, intriguing, beautiful. Just some of the comments from last year's highly successful Urbana Art Expo. This year's expo is Sunday, September 18th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Urbana Civic Center, 108 East Water Street. 19 artists will be there to show and sell paintings, drawings, prints, photographs, sculptures, and more. This free, juried fine art exhibition and sale is presented by the Urbana Public Arts Program in collaboration with 40 North. For more information, visit urbanaartexpo.com.
And here's the second one. I should have noted which is which, but the radios have different names.
Some of the best artists in East Central Illinois will have their talents on display at this year's Urbana Art Expo, Sunday, September 18th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Urbana Civic Center. Artists will showcase and sell their paintings, drawings, prints, photography, sculptures, and more. Enjoy these great exhibits and maybe take home a new showpiece for your home. The Urbana Art Expo is presented by the Urbana Public Arts Program in collaboration with 40 North. Admission is absolutely free. For more information, visit urbanaartexpo.com.
So, here you go.
All right, good. Okay. Moving on to open scene.
Sure. And I'd like to invite Brian, who's here. I don't know if Blair is here as well. Okay. Oh, that's okay. So I'm joined here by Brian Dolinar. I hope I'm saying your last name right. And Brian is the new program director at the IMC, and we will be working very closely in executing and planning for Open Scene. There's also another staff member at the IMC who's recently hired. Her name is Blair Smith, and we've had several meetings with her, and she seems fantastic. She'll be the Open Scene coordinator. And I guess I put this in a discussion item just to introduce you more to what the project is about, since we never really covered that thoroughly. And I don't know if you want to introduce yourself first.
Sure. Good afternoon, y'all. How you doing? I'm Brian Doliner. I am the program director at the Independent Media Center. I have worked around the IMC since 2004 when I moved here, primarily with the Public Eye newspaper, which I help run with other folks. I've also, just as a little background, published 2 books on Black cultural production writers during the Depression. Did a book talk last year with Jason Patterson. We did a setup at the IMC. And I've also taught at the university. But happy to be working at the IMC officially and getting some staff and some programmings in place at the IMC for the coming year and facilitating the Open Scene project. This is a $50,000 NEA grant again to facilitate a youth media arts project, and we have an application together. We're hoping to get it out this week and start circulating it before the end of the week. So things are moving. We've just had myself and Blair hired on as of the 1st of September. So we're trying to get going with it. We're doing outreach. Blair couldn't be here. She's out fishing for stakeholders as we speak, having a meeting with someone. So Blair and I will be in touch with you in the future. Blair, I'm excited about her involvement in the project. She's been working with Soul Hot, Speaking Our Lives, Hearing Our Truths, if I remember correct, which is run by Ruth Nicole Brown and is for about 10 years been running out of Franklin Middle School in Champaign. Ruth Nicole Brown, who's a professor at the U of I. So we're going to be applying some of those techniques and approaches for the Open Scene project. It's a project that really is focused on youth participation, involving them in the process, in the decision making for the project, and focuses on youth of color, minorities, marginalized youth, queer kids. And so if you all have any ideas for outreach, people we should be talking to, I believe that if 2 heads are better than 1, 10 heads are better than 2. And so if you all have ideas, please share them with me. I brought my personal cards, so I'm just going to pass them around. I just wanted to make a quick announcement as well of a few other things we've got going on that might interest you if I can. We have the announcement just is out that we're having a Prince party on the first Friday, October 7th at the IMC that we're doing with Imbibe Urbana. And we also participated in First Friday for this month. We have a Yoga for All program on Saturdays. Nathan Westerman's art, who was mentioned, Nathan Westerman's art is on display now at the IMC Gallery. And after the party is the after party, the Crafter Party, which is at the Independent Media Center after 7 o'clock for Sunday night's Art Expo. So that is all that's going on. Any questions?
I guess I should go back several steps and refresh your memory on Open Scene, and also we have newer members. So basically, Open Scene, as Brian said, is going to be youth-led. We are going to put young people at the center of this project, which will consist of dialogues, art workshops, and art showcases. So our first step is to recruit youth, especially youth who feel like they're not they're excluded from some of the programs that already exist in downtown Urbana, youth who may feel marginalized because of their background or sexual orientation, for example. So we're hoping to reach out to them and invite them to be part of this great initiative. And we'll also invite adult participants, so we call them stakeholders. So these may be people who work in education or work in the arts or even other fields who want to learn more about how to engage youth and how to be part of this conversation. So we have youth and stakeholders, and then they will both help select artists. So we'll do like a big call for artists, and it's up to the youth basically to choose artists that work with them. And then the artists and youth and stakeholders will then have workshops and events and activities, and they'll have art showcases that are open to the public. And basically they'll use these art activities to answer questions about where they see downtown Urbana in the future and how downtown Urbana can be a more welcoming space for them. So that's Open Scene in a nutshell. And it's hard to be more specific than that because, again, we want youth voices to be heard, so the details will be up to them. And as I said, the first step is just to recruit them. So we will accept nominations. If you know any young people between the ages like 16 to 24 who might be good for this initiative, please nominate them. We'll have application forms ready in the next 2 days. So we'll have them online at the IMC on the IMC website. But we'll also have hard copies available to pick up at the city, at the IMC, at the Urbana Free Library, Champaign Public Library, at the Phillips Rec, thank you, Erica, and at Douglas Branch Library. So please nominate. And if you know any teachers or anyone who work with marginalized youth closely, let us know and we can reach out to them and tell them to spread the word too.
I just want to note too, so the commission's aware that this partnership that was formed with IMC is strategic in that we are utilizing this NEA grant in the hopes that we can be, of course, successful in this implementation, but then to leverage the outcomes of this, not only for what these projects will have to say about downtown Urbana, but also for what it'll have to say about IMC and IMC's future. And IMC board is also engaged, I think, in a strategic planning process that will coincide and utilize some of the works of this process, but that we take all that and that we put that towards an Our Town application for a larger grant in about 2 years' time, I think is roughly when we're talking about doing that. And that can actually be used for capital improvements, so we could actually be making a physical change to the space in downtown and the IMC as a result. So in some ways, this is a planning grant and a grant that will hopefully leverage some outcomes down the road.
Okay, thank you.
I can see where it might be an initiative to inspiration to other communities as well. You might have started something good here.
We hope so. When we were applying to this grant, we looked at previous recipients, and we were trying to see what other people are doing. And I have to say, I don't see a lot of projects that are youth-led. So I think this is kind of unique that we are giving young people the opportunity to speak up, to be civically engaged. And I think that's a really good thing.
Yes.
And I just want to say I took the job because I'm really excited about this. We, the Independent Media Center, is one of 2 agencies granted this Our Town grant. The other one's a little outfit in Chicago known as the Art Institute of Chicago. You might have heard of.
Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Must the youngsters be from Urbana? I'm asking this in the context that I know of a youngster who is doing a gender transition from female to male in Muhammad, and feels pretty marginalized. Much more so, I think, actually, that he would be in Urbana. So I wonder if that's a possibility.
So we talked about Champaign-Urbana, not just Urbana, but if the young person is very involved and in downtown Urbana and would like to be a part of downtown Urbana, then we won't exclude him or her from this area.
I'll pass the information on. I think him is the operative pronoun that's preferred at this stage.
Okay. So let's see. I think in our selection criteria, we do hope to engage people who are invested in downtown Urbana, because we are talking about downtown Urbana's future. So we want someone who will stay around, I guess. So if he qualifies for that criteria, then I don't see why not.
And so one role that we'll be looking to the Public Arts Commission to provide some specific input on is, as we prepare that call for the artists. That's something the Public Art program has done a lot of. And so we're going to take the lead on that aspect of having that call out there. And normally we assemble a jury to select an artist from that pool. And in this case, that jury would effectively be composed of the stakeholders and the youth that are in the program.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the IMC board will largely be making the final decision on the stakeholders and the youth. So we're kind of dividing up and sharing responsibilities as we move forward. But probably the next meeting will be when we hopefully bring a process forward for input and review by the Public Art Commission.
And while these decisions are going to be made by the youth participants, we will still value your input, so I will keep you updated, and I can communicate your input to the group too.
Okay.
Oh, it's probably also worth mentioning that in addition to stakeholders and youth, we also just need volunteers, and so there will be the ability to just sign up, and so spreading the word, or you can indicate interest beyond those specific roles as well. So please help.
Yes, thanks to the City of Urbana for all your support.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, thank you for joining us in this.
Thank you.
Okay. The last item we have today is the discussion of the Urbana Sculpture Project.
I keep moving on and then realizing I forgot something.
Oops.
Sorry. Can we go back
That's
just
okay.
a little bit?
Speaking of help we've already received.
Well, this picture, I just wanted to show you this picture. This is from our press announcement event, I guess almost 3 or 4 months ago now. And we had this gathering at the IMC with press present, and then people got to socialize and did ice-breaking activities and whatnot. And this is the logo for Open Scene, which is very freshly arrived. Jessica Snyder actually helped us. Well, not just help; she designed the whole thing. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
We love it.
Very good.
Great.
And yeah, it's just done today actually. So you're like among the first to see it.
All right. It's a debut.
And now I'm ready for the next item.
Now we move on to the Urbana Sculpture.
Yes, we
Are we
move
sure
on
now?
Yes, maybe.
Do the-
So I have some updates with the sculptures. I suspect that things may still change in the next few days or weeks. As a reminder, these are the 4 sculptures. There's one more actually. So the 3 red houses on the left will go on Boneyard Creek Crossing, and then we have the top middle one, which is like a stone piece. It's called A New Leaf. Mm-hmm. And then the horse and the hound on the bottom is actually sponsored not by the city, but by a local individual, Mike Hosier. And on the right is Monolith, which is sponsored by the city. So the top 3 are by the city, and then just the horse and the hound is a private sponsor. I showed these last month, but so the 3 red houses.
Can I stop you for a minute, though?
Yeah.
You've also listed an additional piece.
Yes,
Oh,
I
keep
just
it
didn't have the
together.
picture right here, but I have a picture in like one of the
okay.
later slides, and that piece is Keep It Together. That one is also sponsored by a local individual, Barack Rosenshine.
Oh, yeah, very good.
So these are the 3 pieces plus Mike Hosier's, and the 3 red houses we are going to place at the Boneyard Creek crossing, and we're trying to make this sculpture so that it helps the visibility of this park. So Boneyard Creek Crossing is the park at Race and Griggs in downtown Urbana. And because of the height of the sculpture, we were thinking about putting it on the lawn, but then the lawn is significantly lower than this part, which is on ground level by the
Right.
benches. So people driving by would not be able to see it. This is shorter than the whale piece that's there currently.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this has better visibility
Yeah.
for both pedestrians and drivers. And for this one, for right now, we're still going to put it at the southwest side of the courthouse. This is still pending county approval. They're really close. They have just one more person to go through before it's completely approved. But so far, we're getting really good vibes from them. I think the people I talked to were really enthusiastic about this. So I'm also happy about it. I think it's a great placement. It's also across from the mall and the IMC, so and across from the bus terminal. So there's a lot of traffic there.
Right.
And this one, the Horse and the Hound, we're thinking about placing it also at Boneyard Creek Crossing, again, to promote visibility of the park. And instead of the lawn, we are also placing it a bit higher up. So this bed is kind of just at the corner of Race and Griggs on the northwest corner. So people walking by will hopefully see it and then be intrigued and be like, oh, what else is down there? And maybe walk around the park. Plus, so Brennan and I and people from Public Works toured the park. Mike Hosier specifically wanted to place his sculpture at this park because there's going to be a brewery at that blue building in the back. It's going to be called 25 O'Clock.
That's right, 25 O'Clock Brewery.
Yeah, and they may or may not have outdoor seating where they can view the sculpture. I think that's still in the talks, but
the main entrance will be on the facade facing the creek, so on that what is the blue wall now.
Oh, good.
They had really wanted to do seating overlooking the park, but there's a pretty significant grade change there, so it might not be practical, but they will also attempt to attract food trucks and maybe have some outdoor events as well in the parking lot area, because they'll have to
Very
control
good.
consumption.
Yay.
But we hope to have a lot more activity at this park and
Yeah,
people
sounds
enjoying
like
these sculptures.
Great.
yeah. And Mike Hosier specifically wants the sculpture to be able to be seen from the brewery.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which I guess makes sense if we move the dog to the other side, so they can see the dog too. And this is the one that's like not confirmed yet. I showed this picture last month. So this is a new leaf and how it would look near Black Dog. I guess it doesn't have to be on this one side. It can be centered. It was just hard to Photoshop. And I still have a few other options for this one. This is also near Black Dog, but you see the bike rack on the side of that little park area. So that's there. I talked to Public Works, and he says there is a possibility of moving bike racks if necessary. He would prefer to keep it there because they are used. But we can also just, I guess, the sculpture here and the bike racks can switch places. So that's option number 2. And then there's this spot that's called parking lot number 1. It's across from the Korean restaurant Masita Grill on Water and Race.
Yes, the parking lot that's just kitty corner from Courier, right?
Yes, correct. So so the part where the bench is, we could put it there. The measurements fit perfectly. I guess I don't know, was it you who mentioned that, there are some signs there, so that may not be ideal for that reason, but I think it could still work. That's that from another point of view. And I sent this suggestion also to the county. I don't want to overwhelm them with all of my crazy ideas. Because I know they're still like in the works with Monolith and but I asked them anyway. I think this is actually Brandon's idea. There's this plaza on the north side of the courthouse that has that shape that's just perfect for this sculpture, just among the brick. And maybe, I think it would be good. There are a lot of people there. Sometimes they sit around the edges of the building, and this sculpture is actually meant to be sat on. It's like a bench. So I think it'll be good. I haven't heard back from them since I emailed them like 2 hours ago. So hopefully.
Really?
Here,
What a surprise.
Yeah, I wanted to wait until we hear about Monolith because, one done first. But they're super nice about it. So hopefully they like this idea too.
I'm not clear, though. Which side is this on again?
This is the northwest side, I guess. This is pretty close to Vine and then Main Street.
And this might have been the location that had been contemplated for the arts program early on had looked at doing a elaborate newspaper.
Oh,
rack.
yes.
Oh, yes.
I mean, this is that general
Oh,
area.
yes, that went on forever.
Yeah. I like it here better than at Black Dog for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like it at Black Dog. I wasn't totally sold on this just because we have now 2 pieces at the courthouse,
Yeah.
but I must admit it does look good there.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have a feeling about it?
Any inputs about this one too?
No, I think the courthouse is by far the place where it looks the best, or
Yeah.
it and the building
Yeah.
look best
Mhm.
in relationship to each other.
Yeah.
I think it looks the best at the, like, right in this picture you're showing us with the nice brick and the big
Mhm.
area.
Yeah.
But I think it might get a little more, not public use, but I think people would see the sculpture in their life a little more if it was near Black Dog, where everyone's just kind of milling outside anyway. I guess the difficulty would be to find a way that it could be placed more aesthetically pleasing, rather than just sort of tucked to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the bed, the planting bed that's there in sort of to the right of Black Dog, to the
Oh.
right of the bike racks. That's right there next to the bike racks.
Yeah.
There, right there.
Oh,
So
Where that little
Public
tree
Works
is.
has some objections with that spot. They planted a lot of expensive plants in there, so we'd just have to like
And there's
start over and remove all
Right.
the
Yeah,
all
the
their
trees there
investments.
too.
No.
Yeah,
It's a young tree, it might not survive.
I don't know. I think it looks fine here where the bike racks are.
No. No.
It's too much the same color. It all kind
Yeah.
of blends together
Yeah.
too
Okay.
with the white.
And wait till there's
concrete and-
snow there.
Okay, yeah. Any thoughts about this location?
That sign right next to it will block a bunch of it.
That
Maybe
The
Oh, the sign?
parking sign.
Yeah, I guess here it won't look great from all angles. This is the good angle.
But it will be
but
seen a lot, because obviously that parking lot's used a lot.
Yeah.
We did some research, and Pauline found out that this is where a phone booth used to be.
Yeah, you see that little
I'll be
square
darned.
in front of the bench?
What are those
Used to be a
things?
phone
Oh.
Funny.
Yeah, I guess the sign could block it from certain angles. What I like about this is that when people park here, they have to go around, and basically they'll get to see the sculpture from all angles.
Mhm.
And also,
Yeah.
I mean, it's across from a restaurant. I can see people just mingling outside while they wait for a friend or something, or after they park, or
I guess it depends if we want it to be looked at or interacted with.
Yeah.
I think we
A
want
mixture
both.
of both.
That's the
I do,
problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
I do hope one day I get to see people sit on it, since that's what it's meant to be.
I don't think anyone will sit on it if it's in front of the courthouse, because
You
it's
don't?
so nicely displayed
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
those edges around it. I'd be afraid
Yeah.
to sit on it there.
Gonna need a
Unless you
sign.
put up a sign, sit
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah.
Sit on it. Yeah.
Wow, it's opposite of all the signs I've done in the past. I'm not used to that.
But I guess people at Black Dog, typically you have to wait in line outside to
Mhm.
get in.
Yeah.
So there are always people outside for that reason.
Yeah.
So it will be appreciated there. It might even be sound.
Just doesn't
Yeah, but it
aesthetically
just doesn't
good.
look good.
Yeah.
It looks
it's-
kind of out of place.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the question is, what would it look, how would it look from the perspective of somebody who's outside the Black Dog way you can get in. If that probably would be the most numerous, the largest number.
Couldn't they just put another?
Do you think
I'd
they would
almost
really
rather-
care?
If you were gonna put it, if this were gonna be the
Oh.
location, I'd almost rather that it were between the red picnic table and the street.
Can they move the picnic table?
I don't know if that would.
Yeah, but there's more seating that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
can
a
only get a
ramp
couple
there, so
people
I
on
don't know
that
if
piece.
it's still accessible with.
Left of the ramp?
Oh, okay.
This looks cluttered.
Yeah, it really.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Could they move the bench a little bit? Just, yeah.
Hmm.
But of course, I don't think people would be sitting on it in the wintertime either.
Right, right.
Okay. Any other inputs about these locations? And again, I think as we move forward, there may be other technicalities that I have to consider. So I definitely value all your input. So, and I guess we'll wait to hear back from the courthouse and see how enthusiastic they are about this.
What if they were to say no to the other one? You said you had the majority of people confirming it, but there was one holdout. What if that one holdout person kept it from being, the other statue from being put up there? Then would you
Well, then I think.
go ahead with this one, for example?
Possibly.
I'm just thinking worst case scenario.
Yeah, but we don't know that this is a holdout. It's just
Yeah.
it hasn't gone through the
Yeah.
system, right?
Yeah, I think they just need time.
Yeah.
I'm just doing a
Hopefully
what-if
I'm not
scenario.
overly optimistic, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah.
Be nice if they have two. It would be
So, from what I'm getting, I think most people are happiest about this. So we'll wait, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll consider these other places too.
So those are the only options you have for putting a sculpture, is that right?
For this one, this is a bit longer than most sculptures, so not all of our available locations can fit. And we are kind of constrained to TIF district because that's where the funding comes from. So that limits our options as well. And I've been driving around. Every time I drive around downtown Urbana, I try to take notes.
Put this thing.
Bring my tape measure. And I don't know. It's just maybe
I do it with
it's
concept
7
sites,
or
I
it's
understand
8-6. So it's a more unusual size.
And these were all locations we thought there was a decent chance somebody would sit on it. You know, there's reasons that people are walking around nearby. So
Right.
we had considered a placement, on Vine Street, kind of in front of the sheriff's office.
Mhm.
There's a little bump out, and there's a couple benches there.
Right.
Yeah.
But we went there. The sun's shining directly on you. You're 4 feet from an idling car.
Right.
We don't really see people hanging out there the same way we do at some of these other sites. So we did
quite
rule
so
out a
long,
few other
yeah.
locations because we wanted to provide at least that opportunity that somebody would interact with it.
Yeah.
And you considered putting it at the high school?
I think the high school is outside of the
Oh,
It's
is
outside
it?
Yes.
the
TIF
TIF
district.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize, because it seems so close. That
Yeah, it is so close. Sometimes I wish the line could just move a couple of blocks, and that will give us more options. But
Well, I think the North Broadway quadrant there does need a little help, though. So in that sense, maybe it's the beginning of more elevation of that area, bringing it new life.
oh,
perhaps.
Black Dog.
No, yeah,
No.
isn't that North Broadway? Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Here?
because that big empty, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But that whole area north of it, could
That
stand some
corridor.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all locations have their pros and cons.
Plus and
So
minuses, yeah.
thank you so much for your input. It helps a lot.
Well,
It's a
Oh, go
long
ahead.
process.
yeah, I'll just say, speaking for myself, count me as, if you put it by the Black Dog, it's okay.
Okay.
I'm not really, I don't find that location repulsive.
I will keep you updated. And this is the last piece that this just happened pretty recently, so I didn't get a chance to have more on it, but we just heard that it will be installed on Urbana Park District property.
Mhm.
So it's not really the city's responsibility to help with, pouring concrete and all that. And it looks like it's moving along, and I told them if they need any assistance, we can probably help. But it's between Park District and PAL, and they really love this because this is actually the piece that the Park District was eyeing. And sponsored this piece, and we're going to put it kind of south of the city building. I think I might have mentioned that to a couple of people. But that didn't work out because they may make improvements to this south side. So in the next year or so, we have to move this, and then the Park District volunteered the location. So it will either be at Lido or the location. It's not decided.
Okay. I think that's it for this meeting, unless anyone has any announcements they want to make. Again, please come to the expo on Sunday. Next Sunday. For the reception here.
I have one quick announcement.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Champaign-Urbana Jazz Festival is happening mid-October.
Oh, great.
13 to 16.
Where's it going to be?
It's mostly downtown Urbana, Library, Pizza M, Iron Post.
Oh,
hopefully
great.
at IMC, C4A as well.
Very good.
Yep, definitely. But I wanted to let you know before the next meeting, because it'll be right away after that. So
Great.
hopefully we can see you there.
Great. I look forward to it. Okay.
So Morgan has started again, has returned as public arts intern, and so he'll basically have two responsibilities. He's a public arts intern, but he's also open food intern, so he'll be helping both responsibilities. And he's here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday morning, usually from 8 to 11, but his schedule is still changing as he registers for classes.
Okay.
And so also, Rosalind Schwartz have resigned, so she can no longer serve in the Public Arts Commission. So we have now one vacancy, and if you know anyone who may be interested in serving in this commission, I know,
Okay. Well, I move that we adjourn. Can I have a second? So we are adjourned. Thank you.